Have you ever noticed who's the loudest in the room? The ones constantly talking about their plans, posting every move on social media, trying to convince the world that they're on the grind? Now ask yourself this: are they really winning or just performing? Because here's the truth no one tells you. Success isn't loud, it doesn't scream, it doesn't need an audience. True success is silent. It's built in the quiet hours, through invisible discipline and by mastering your craft away from the noise. We live in a time where people chase attention more than mastery. The world rewards noise, viral posts, flashy lifestyles, people who talk a lot but deliver little. And in the middle of that storm, if you're not careful, you'll start to believe that the only way to prove your worth is to be seen and heard. But that's not how real greatness is built. The real ones, the true masters, they aren't talking, they're doing. They're not on stage looking for claps. They're in the shadows, building quietly, patiently, and relentlessly. Think about a seed. It spends months growing underground, hidden, unseen, before it even breaks through the surface. But when it does, it's strong, it's rooted, it's ready. That's what silent mastery is. It's choosing to grow even when no one is watching. It's sacrificing comfort for consistency, ego for evolution. And the best part? You don't need permission, you don't need applause, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You just need to lock in, focus, stay consistent. Let your results, not your words, do the talking. Because the truth is, loud success is often short-lived. It burns bright, then disappears. But the success that's built in silence, that's the kind that lasts. That's the kind no one can take from you. Because it's real. It wasn't built on hype, it was built on habits. So if you're working hard behind the scenes right now, and no one's noticing, keep going. If you're grinding in silence, stacking skills, sharpening your mind, strengthening your character, you're already ahead because you're not building for likes, you're building for legacy. This video is for the quiet ones, the focused ones, the builders, the disciplined souls who know that the loudest thing they can ever do is let their life speak for them. Over the next few parts, we're going deep into what silent mastery truly looks like. We're going to strip away the noise, the pressure, the need for validation, and bring it back to what really matters. Doing the work, becoming the person, and letting your results echo louder than any words ever could. Real success doesn't shout, it moves in silence. In today's world, it seems like success has become a performance. Flashy cars, luxury vacations, gold-plated quotes on Instagram. Everywhere you look, someone is broadcasting their wins. The message is loud and clear. If you're not posting it, it didn't happen. If you're not constantly announcing your progress, are you even progressing? But let me hit you with the truth that breaks through all the noise. Real success doesn't need to shout, because it moves in silence. Think about the greatest breakthroughs in history. The revolutionary ideas, the iconic athletes, the legendary artists. They didn't become great by broadcasting every small move. They became great because they stayed committed when no one was watching. They showed up in silence, trained in silence, worked through their pain in silence. And when it was time, their results made the noise. We've mistaken volume for value. Just because something is loud doesn't mean it's powerful. And just because something is quiet doesn't mean it's weak. In fact, the strongest people are often the quietest. Not because they lack ability, but because they don't need applause to keep going. Their fire comes from within. Success built on noise crumbles under pressure. It's temporary, it's shallow. But success built in silence? That's different. That's mastery. That's the kind of success that stays even when the spotlight fades. You don't have to explain yourself to the world. You don't have to post every win. You don't need validation to work on yourself, to grow, to evolve. In fact, the most powerful growth happens when no one knows what you're doing. It happens in the gym at 5 a.m., in the books you read when others sleep, in the sacrifices you make that no one claps for. When you're truly committed to becoming something great, you don't care about being seen. You care about being ready. Ready for the moment when opportunity meets preparation. And when that moment comes, you won't have to say anything. Your results will speak volumes. So don't be discouraged if no one notices you right now. That's not a problem. That's an advantage. While they're watching each other, you're working. While they're talking, you're building. While they're rushing to be seen, you're mastering your craft. Because here's the truth. The louder your preparation, the weaker your execution. But when you master something in silence, the results are undeniable. Stay committed, stay focused, keep your head down and your standards high. Don't chase applause, chase greatness, because success doesn't need to scream. When it's real, when it's earned, it doesn't have to. It moves in silence and then echoes forever. Mastery is a commitment, not a performance. Too often people confuse visibility with value. They think if the world isn't watching them grind, then the grind isn't real. But here's the truth that separates winners from performers. Mastery is a commitment, not a performance. When you're truly on the path to greatness, you're not doing it to be seen. You're doing it because it's who you are, because it's in your blood, your bones, your purpose. Mastery isn't about showing off. It's about showing up day after day, without applause, without recognition, and sometimes without results. Yet, people who crave attention chase the spotlight. They want to be praised before they've earned it. But those chasing mastery, they're different. They understand that true greatness is earned in silence and proven over time. The world praises performances, but it rewards discipline. You can fake confidence, fake hustle, even fake a lifestyle. But you can't fake consistency. You can't fake excellence. Those are things only built through real, unseen commitment. Mastery requires you to commit on the days you don't feel like it. On the days when motivation is gone, energy is low, and the results are invisible. It requires you to stay locked in, even when nobody is watching. That's the price. That's the difference. Let me be real with you. Anyone can show up when it's exciting, when it's fun, when people are clapping. But how many can show up when it's boring, when it's hard, when nobody's looking and you're not sure if it's even working? That's where mastery lives. That's where champions are made. You're not performing for the crowd. You're performing for the future. You're showing up for the version of you that's still being shaped, one disciplined day at a time. That version doesn't care about likes. It cares about legacy. Think about the greats. Kobe Bryant didn't train to be admired. He trained to be ready. Steve Jobs didn't stay up night after night building Apple to get followers. He did it because he believed in what he was creating. Serena Williams didn't become the best by being loud. She became the best by being consistent. They didn't care who was watching. They cared who they were becoming. And that's the question you have to ask yourself. Am I doing this for attention, or am I doing it for mastery? Because the answer will define your future. So forget the performance, forget the applause, forget the pressure to constantly prove. Just commit. Get quiet, get focused, show up in silence, and let your life become the loudest proof of your power. Mastery doesn't need to be seen, it just needs to be honored. And when you honor it with your full heart, it rewards you with something louder than noise, results that last. The work you do in private will speak publicly later. There's a hidden kind of work, the type that no one sees, no one applauds, and no one posts about. It's the work you do in silence when no one's watching, the grind in the early hours, the repetition that gets boring, the sacrifices that go unnoticed, and that's where real success is born. The work you do in private becomes the evidence you carry in public. People see the end result, the performance, the launch, the transformation, and they call it overnight success. What they don't see is the thousands of quiet moments that built it, the days you chose discipline over distraction, the nights you stayed focused while others partied, the lonely hours when doubt crept in, but you didn't quit. That's the truth about greatness. It doesn't announce itself. It builds itself, step by silent step. You don't owe the world an explanation for your grind. You don't need to post your process. You need to trust that what you're doing behind the scenes will make sense when it's time. You need to trust that the seeds you're planting in private will bloom in public when they're ready. You see, most people want the applause before they've done the real work. But real champions, they don't chase claps, they chase craft. They understand that validation isn't the fuel, purpose is. Look at a tree. Its roots grow deep into the earth long before the branches break through the surface. And without those roots, that foundation, that unseen growth, the tree would never survive the storm. It would fall the moment it was tested. That's what your silent work is doing. It's growing your roots, strengthening your core, teaching you how to rise when no one's cheering and how to keep going when no one believes in you yet. Let others chase noise. You chase depth. Let them post the highlight reel. You live in the training room because when the lights finally hit you, when your moment comes, they'll call it talent, luck, or timing. But you'll know the truth. You were grinding in the dark long before anyone knew your name. That's why you don't stop. That's why you don't wait to be seen to start being serious. Because whether anyone notices today or not doesn't matter. What matters is the fire in you, the calling on your life, and the commitment you bring every single day. Keep doing the work. Keep showing up for the version of you that nobody sees yet. Because when the time is right, that private effort, it'll shout louder than any words ever could. The work you do in silence today will speak for you louder than any voice tomorrow. Silence isn't emptiness, it's power. In a world addicted to noise, silence feels uncomfortable. People are afraid of being quiet, afraid of disappearing, afraid that if they're not talking, posting, sharing, then they're not relevant. But here's what the loud world won't tell you. Silence isn't emptiness, it's power. It's in the silence where your mind sharpens. It's in the silence where your vision clears. It's in the silence where real progress is made, not for attention, but for alignment. When you step away from the noise, you take back control of your focus. You stop reacting to everything around you and start responding to the truth inside you. You stop seeking approval and start seeking mastery. Most people are chasing attention. They want to be seen. They want validation. But validation is temporary. It fades, it shifts, it controls you. But silence? Silence builds inner power, the kind of power that doesn't crumble when no one claps. There's strength in being able to work without the world watching. There's focus in being able to grow without needing to explain it to anyone. Some of the greatest growth you'll ever experience will happen when it feels like no one's watching. And that's exactly when you're most dangerous. Because in silence, you're not wasting energy trying to prove yourself. You're investing it in building yourself. You're studying, practicing, refining. You're stacking discipline brick by brick while everyone else is distracted by the noise. Don't fear the quiet. Own it. It's in the quiet that you'll find your real self. The version of you that doesn't need applause, that doesn't bend to opinions, that doesn't need a crowd to keep walking. Silence gives birth to strength. It matures you. It centers you. It makes you sharp, focused, and unshakable. The truth is, those who are always loud, always needing to be heard, are often covering up insecurity. Real confidence doesn't need to yell. Real preparation doesn't need to be posted. Real success doesn't need to be announced. Because when you're truly aligned with your purpose, you don't care about being seen. You care about being ready. Let the others chase likes. Let them chase applause. You chase growth. You chase peace. You chase the version of you that's forged in the fire of solitude, not shaped by the noise of the crowd. And remember this, silence doesn't mean you've stopped. It means you've locked in. It doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means something powerful is being built and it's not ready to be revealed yet. Power grows in the quiet. Mastery grows in the quiet. You grow in the quiet. So embrace it, protect it, use it. Because when the world goes silent, that's when the focused rise. That's when warriors sharpen their weapons. That's when kings and queens prepare to rule. Silence is not your weakness. It is your weapon. Wield it wisely. Loud people seek attention. Quiet ones earn respect. Let's make something clear. There's a huge difference between being seen and being respected. In a world obsessed with attention, it's easy to think the loudest person in the room is the most powerful. But more often than not, the loudest one is the most insecure. Loud people seek validation. Quiet people build legacy. You've seen it. People chasing clout, announcing every move, boasting about every small win. They want recognition more than results. But here's the problem. Attention fades. What's trending today is forgotten tomorrow. But respect is earned and it lasts. The ones who truly command respect are the ones who move with purpose, not performance. They don't have to say, "Look at me." Their discipline says it for them. Their work ethic, their silence, their consistency. That's where real strength lies. You don't need to convince people of your worth. You don't need to shout your goals from the rooftops. You just need to live them, work on them, breathe them. Because over time, the world doesn't remember who talked the most. They remember who delivered. Think of the people you admire most, the real ones, the greats. They didn't become legends by being loud. They became legends by being relentless, by putting their heads down and working, not because they were being watched, but because they had a mission to fulfill. Loudness is often insecurity in disguise. It's a mask worn to hide the fear of being average. But confidence, real confidence doesn't need a megaphone. It shows up in how you move, not how much you talk. So when you're quiet, when you're focused, when you're grinding without the need for applause, don't feel less than. Feel empowered. You're building something real. And real doesn't need to shout. Quiet people think deeper, plan smarter, move sharper. They understand that noise distracts, but silence builds power. And here's the truth. When you're consistent enough, when your habits are locked in, when your character is unshakable, people will start to notice without you ever having to say a word. They'll feel your energy. They'll respect your discipline. Not because you asked for it, but because you earned it. Let others make noise. Let them chase applause. Let them trend for a moment. You're building something that lasts. You're earning the kind of respect that can't be bought, borrowed, or faked. Because in the end, the world listens to the one who speaks less but achieves more. And that can be you, if you stay silent, stay focused, and stay real. Respect isn't given to the loudest voice. It's given to the strongest presence. And strong presence doesn't come from noise. It comes from quiet, relentless, disciplined action. Focus grows where noise fades. We live in the noisiest time in human history. Notifications, headlines, opinions, updates, everything is designed to pull your attention in 100 different directions. And here's what that noise is really doing. It's stealing your focus, and with it, your future. But the moment you step away from the noise, everything begins to change, because focus grows where noise fades. Success, mastery, fulfillment. They don't come from chaos, they come from clarity. And clarity doesn't show up when you're scrolling, comparing, or trying to keep up with what everyone else is doing. Clarity shows up in the quiet. You can't build anything meaningful if you're constantly distracted. You can't hear your own thoughts, let alone your calling, if you're always tuned into someone else's voice. That's why stepping away from the noise isn't weakness, it's strategy. Every time you choose silence over distraction, you're gaining ground. Every time you ignore the urge to post your progress and instead focus on your process, you're building real momentum. The ones who rise to the top aren't the ones who yell the loudest. They're the ones who lock in, fully, intentionally, and relentlessly. They cut out the noise so they can master their craft. They say no to what's popular in order to say yes to what's purposeful. While the world's obsessed with being seen, they're obsessed with becoming sharp, not for others, but for themselves. If you want to win in this life, you've got to become unshakable in your focus. You've got to become someone who protects their attention like it's their most valuable asset, because it is. Where your focus goes, your future grows. Ask yourself, what is stealing my focus? What are you giving your energy to that isn't growing you? What distractions are keeping you busy but not effective? It's time to cut them, to step back. Or turn down the volume of the world so you can hear the whisper of your own potential, because in the silence your vision sharpens. In the silence your identity becomes clear. In the silence you finally stop performing and start transforming. You don't need more time, you need fewer distractions. You don't need more followers, you need more focus. And that starts by reclaiming your space from the noise that's draining you. So if you're not as far as you want to be, don't blame time. Don't blame circumstances. Take a hard look at your focus. Is it scattered or is it locked in? Because those who win big aren't louder than the rest. They're quieter. But in that quiet, they are lethal. In that quiet, they are building something unstoppable. Your discipline is louder than their opinions. Let them talk. Let them doubt you. Let them laugh, mock, and misunderstand. Because while they're busy giving their opinion, you're busy building your reality. Here's the truth. Your discipline will always speak louder than their opinions. You don't owe the world an explanation for your grind. You don't need to defend your dreams to people who stopped believing in theirs. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're casting a vote for the future version of you, the one they can't see yet. Opinions are cheap. They don't cost anything. Anyone can criticize. Anyone can doubt. But discipline, that costs. That requires you to wake up early, to stay up late, to sacrifice comfort, to push through pain. Discipline is the difference between wanting something and working for it. And guess what? Most people won't understand your discipline because they've never tasted what it feels like to build something real. They've never stayed consistent long enough to break through. So don't be surprised if they don't get it. You're not living their life, you're living yours. You're not following their path, you're paving your own. And that requires a level of silence, solitude, and sacrifice that most people aren't willing to give. You have to get to a place where their opinions don't rattle you, because your vision is too strong, your mission is too real. You know what's at stake, you know what it cost you to get this far. So why would you let someone's shallow comment shake a foundation you've spent years building? Discipline is your defense, it's your shield, it's the silent roar of your soul that says, I'm not here to be liked, I'm here to be legendary. People might doubt your work now, but they'll respect your results later. They might not see the hours you're putting in today, but when the results show up, that they'll have no choice but to listen. Let your results answer their questions. Let your success silence their judgment. Let your commitment drown out their noise. Because one thing is for sure, opinions fade. But what you build through discipline lasts. So when you feel like giving in to the pressure, remember who you are, remember why you started, and most importantly, remember this. You don't need to be understood. You need to be consistent. You don't need to be accepted. You need to be unstoppable. And if they can't see the value in what you're doing today, that's okay. One day they'll ask you how you did it. And when that day comes, you won't need to explain a thing. Your discipline will speak for itself. Loud, clear, unshakable. Silent mastery leaves the loudest legacy. In the end, when the noise dies down and the spotlight shifts to someone else, what remains? Not the trends, not the hype, not the claps or the shares or the shallow praise. What remains is the legacy you've built. And here's what most people never realize. The loudest legacies are born in silence, not in the noise of social media, not in the echo chambers of attention seeking, but in the quiet rooms, the lonely hours, the focused routines that no one else sees. Silent mastery doesn't mean you hide. It means you rise on your terms. It means you're not chasing attention, you're chasing alignment. You're not seeking to impress, you're seeking to improve. You see, anyone can post a win, but not everyone can commit to daily improvement when no one's watching. Loud people flash results, silent masters become results. The greatest people you admire, they didn't shout their way into history. They mastered their craft in private, endured the grind without applause, and let their work echo across generations. They understood this simple truth. Legacy isn't built on what you say. It's built on what you consistently do. Your habits, your discipline, your values, your ability to stay locked in while others lose focus. That's what creates lasting impact. Not likes, not claps, not being viral for a day, but staying true when no one's clapping, staying disciplined when no one's looking, staying ready when no one expects you to win. The world may not understand you while you're building. They may question your silence. They may wonder where you disappeared to. But when your results show up, when your mastery becomes visible, you won't have to explain a thing. Your life will speak. Your presence will command respect. Your legacy will roar in a voice louder than any announcement you could have made. So keep going, keep growing, keep tearing, even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching, because those are the moments that separate noise from greatness. And if you're wondering, but when will they notice? Here's the answer. They will. Not today, maybe not tomorrow. But when your consistency turns into excellence, the world won't be able to ignore you. Until then, stay quiet, stay focused, stay relentless. Because the one who grows in silence becomes unshakable in purpose. And that kind of power, it doesn't fade with trends. It doesn't crumble under pressure. It leaves behind a legacy, the kind that doesn't need to be explained, because it's felt. Be so consistent, so disciplined, so excellent, that when your time comes, your silence turns into the loudest legacy the world has ever heard. So now you know the truth. Success isn't about noise. It's not about showing off, shouting your goals, or convincing the world that you're working. It's about mastering yourself in silence. It's about becoming so consistent, so focused, and so disciplined that your results eventually speak louder than anything you could say. The loud world we live in wants you to believe that visibility equals progress, that if no one sees your grind, it doesn't count. But now you know better. Silent mastery is the foundation of everything lasting. The real wins happen behind the scenes, in the late nights, the early mornings, the daily choices you make when no one's clapping for you, and you show up anyway. The truth is, noise fades, hype fades, opinions fade, but discipline, growth, character, they stay, they carry you, they build the legacy that noise never could. The people making the most impact in the world aren't the ones constantly trying to be seen. They're the ones quietly showing up day after day, even when no one notices. They're not looking for attention. They're building something that will command attention when it's ready. And here's the most powerful part. You can start right now. You don't need a platform. You don't need the perfect timing. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need to believe in your path, in your process, in the quiet power of commitment. Let this be the moment you stop seeking validation and start seeking excellence. Let this be the turning point where you fall in love with the silence, because now you know that's where the real work happens. That's where you separate yourself. That's where mastery lives. So the next time you feel the urge to prove something to the world, pause, breathe, and remember who you're becoming. You're not here for noise. You're not here for temporary applause. You're here to build something permanent, something powerful, something real. Let your focus become unshakable. Let your commitment become your voice. Let your results speak so loudly that the world won't be able to ignore your silence. Be the quiet force in a loud world. Be the storm that doesn't need thunder, because your lightning is in your actions. Every day, keep showing up, keep growing, keep mastering inside.